Hey garage people, it's me coming back at you from my girlfriend's garage. Of course the Camaro is still on the lift, but on the bench we've got some new stuff. Under the covers we've got some new stuff, and on this workbench we've got some new stuff. So yeah, it's been a while since I've talked to you guys, but I've been busy, which is good. I just haven't been able to film a lot of it because it's just been go, 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 and also the times when I was maybe able to film, it wasn't super interesting, aka a little bit of filming the tank that was cleaning the motor. Wouldn't have been that exciting, but I managed to do a lot of things, and even cooler, I got a lot of stuff in. So, let me flip you around. Here is my new rack for my nitrous bottle, which is super cool. This was like $100 on eBay or 95 bucks or something. Super good deal. Way better than this little chintzy, these little things. Ugh. Yeah, so not even a comparison. My intake runners are all sitting right here. They are done and just need to be hand sanded smooth. This runner is going to stay as it is. I'll just sand off these to smooth it out a little bit. I've got the rest of the 7 to do, and this one is done. So yeah, that is how they're all going to look. The top, excuse me, the top shell is still in here. I got to do a little sanding on it and then paint it, so I'm just letting it stay warmer inside, even though it's gorgeous out today. I believe it's almost 50 degrees here at the end of January, which is awesome. Yeah, this is super nice. So what I'm gonna do, I think, I've got a lot of things that I could do. Like I'd mentioned, I'll catch you up to speed a little bit. I still have all my engine parts over here. What I have done was I busted out this awesome 3-jaw puller that, of course, my girlfriend just has as part of her tools. She used to work as a technician on big imaging machines in hospitals and things like that. So she's got these awesome tool sets. So what I did was use this 3-jaw puller to remove the original. This is the crank sprocket. You can see the keyway there. This is the crank sprocket that drives the cam chain that then bolts to the cam sprocket that spins the cam. So here's the new cam sprocket, which will go on this camshaft right here. And as you can see, it is a double roller. So there's one roller's worth of chain on here, and then there's another. It's double the width, it's double the strength, it's a little heavier obviously, but for this build I definitely wanted to go with that insurance of the double roller versus the single roller. See? Single. Double. So what I did was use this big jaw puller to pull that off of here. And then I pressed this one on, and then here's the collar for the oil pump. So yeah, I did that. In addition to putting this together, and in addition to getting my block in the wash machine after running a nice little polisher through the bores. There's a bit of lint in there, but yeah, you can see the crosshatch now. That looks very nice. Yeah, so there's a bit of lint just from a rag on there, but I sprayed them all down with WD-40, and I was rinsing them out with brake clean as I ran the little deglazer / hone through there. So yeah, I did all 8 cylinders. Come on. There we go. I did all 8 cylinders there, 4 on this side and 4 over there. That was after I deburred the whole thing, so no sharp edges there. Love that. And then I ran the whole thing through the jet wash for about half an hour, 45 minutes. So it is clean. And after I pulled it out, I sprayed the bores down with WD-40 and the lifter bores. So it's going to need a rub down with a lintless towel and some brake clean, and then some more assembly oil before I put it back together finally. But it is, for all intents and purposes, cleaned. So there's like, see a little piece of lint right. Oh, never mind. That's not lint. That's just a stain. But yeah, it's very clean overall. Not, you know, sterile by any means, but it's super clean. So that's awesome. The cam bearings will be ready to put back in shortly, which is super cool. I'm going to have Jenny help me with those to help eye them up so I don't mess up the journals. Like, I got to line the hole in the bearing up with that, ideally right in the middle, so it flows real good. But the piece de resistance, haven't even had them out of the bag yet, is my cylinder heads from Total Engine Airflow. Ah, there's the little logo. Yeah. Stock heads, heavily ported. So I'm going to pull those out of the bag at some point. And we will go over them when I do my full engine briefing episode, which I think hopefully will be the episode after this one. I'll either do it tomorrow or next week, but I'm going to tag Richard Holdner in it because he literally just did a live episode on these 241 casting heads. And I am really excited to see if I could get some of his viewers to comment on my shorts. So I think I'm going to do that. Just a little sneak preview here. These things flow a ton at 600 lift, and I'm actually going to be going to 6 3/4. So I might, the graph isn't linear as it goes up. It kind of starts strong and then tapers off as the flow gets higher and higher. Just because there's only so much air you can cram through a valve. But I'm going to be lifting these to 6 3/4, and this only goes to 600. So I might even just graph this out to see what the next probable point would be at my max lift, because it's definitely going to be above 300. How much? I'm not sure, but it will be a little bit above that, which is cool for the bench numbers. But also these mid-flow numbers, this 3, 4, and 5, from 160 to 200, from 209 to 250, and from 237 to 283 at the mid lift, and then another 45-ish, 40-ish numbers over at 550 as well, is really going to help this engine breathe in conjunction with this camshaft here, because you can see the lift on that is already over 600 at the valve. So I'm going to be flowing over 300 at max lift, and I've got a pretty healthy duration there. And in addition to that, this thing is only on a 111 lobe separation angle. So it will have some chop down low and some lungs up top. So in any case, we'll talk about that later. This can go away for now. So that is on. This is ready to go back in the engine with the new bearings, which are over here. Somewhere hiding in there, I think. Yeah. And the head studs, a lot of this stuff. The oil pump is in here, which I have to hand check and everything. But moral of the story is there's a lot of stuff that can be started putting back together and checked. So this nitrous bottle has to go over under my amplifier there and mount. And then I'll run this cable up to the front, and then also run the wiring back to there so that I can eventually I can plug it into the dash. So I'll loosely lay out the wiring and the plumbing. I've got my new fuel pressure rail gauge hooked up to the rail, and then my my fuel solenoid for the nitrous system is mounted in front of that. So that'll go to the nitrous plate. Here's the nitrous solenoid that'll go on the end of that line, right after the purge solenoid. So then that line, these will both have to get power to them and then ground, or run to the switch. This will go to the switch and then ground. This will go to the switch as well, that these two are getting tied together. This one is independent. So I got a lot of wires here and a couple connectors. So I do want to lay that stuff out and get that plumbed through the firewall up under the dash, and then get the wires laid over to there. and then eventually my switches will go somewhere in this area. But also, it's super nice out today, so I kind of am thinking what I want to do is I'll do a little bit of sanding on these and my lid, and then bring that outside to spray the paint on it to stealthify my lid of my Fast so it doesn't look like a Fast, it just looks incognito. And then I'm also gonna lift my transmission outside and set it on my old box here and spray it down with brake clean and hit it with some brushes to clean the crap off of it. So it's just gonna get nicer outside for the next like 2 or 3 hours. So I think I have to take advantage of that rather than do this stuff. So I think that'll satisfy my, my I won't say slacking the last few days because I got so much done. I cleaned my fuel injectors in this box. Shout out to Jason Osmondson, he's the man. Got everything done at DRM with regards to the engine block. Honed, cleaned, deburred, dropped my computer off with Todd with all the info on it. Borrowed, another shout out to Jason, borrowed a valve spring tool so I can take out the valve springs on cylinder 1 to put these checkers in so that I can check for push rod length. I also got a steering bushing to replace my factory rubber one, which has this little peg in the middle and then is just these rubber little donuts. This one is all aluminum. There. Yeah, sweet. So that will go in the steering rack and it's gonna solidify up my whole front end's worth of steering, like no twitchiness. It'll handle like it's on a train track. So yeah, shout out to DRM for that one. They're the only people that make that. Doug Rippie Motorsports, check them out. Got my intake seals there for my intake, but that is gonna wait until after I get that painted and done because this bottom half here, will need to get mocked up on top of these cylinder heads when the cylinder heads are sitting on top of this engine block here, because all of that needs to happen so I can make sure that these little windows line up with these little windows as well as they possibly can. So, as you can see, there's a lot of stuff coming together that is now in play. My fuel injectors are tested, they all check out, they are clean, they've flowed fluid, they're not just dry, everything works. My adapters are here, my adapters are there, my fuel rail is here, and my intake is here, and my cylinder heads are here, and my motor is here, and my engine parts are over there. So everything is pretty much ready to go together. It's just where do I want to start first almost. So it's almost like one of those paralysis by analysis things. So I think what I'm going to do is do what I can do outside right now just to maximize the sunshine and the nice weather. So I'm going to do a little bit of sanding on the top of that intake to get it ready for paint. And then I will bring it plus my transmission out here and start slanging a little paint around while I can have this stuff sitting in the sun and it's not too breezy. And then I can hit everything with brake clean on the transmission and get it cleaned off. So yeah, what do you think about that, Grand Prix? Much better than -20, huh? Yeah. That's the plan, I think, people. I maybe will put the camera up outside when I'm out there, or I don't know. I don't have it too hot in here. It's only 60 or so, and I think it's almost 50 outside. But I'm gonna keep the garage closed because it's nice to keep the heat in here. So, yeah, I'm gonna put the hatch down, lift the car up. I do have to watch one of my old videos to make sure that I position this correctly on here, because then I can start throwing this stuff on as well. But I'll lift the car up, move the stuff out of the way so I can get the transmission out, and yeah, then I'll maybe grab the other sawhorse from off the wall as well to set up for paint, and yeah, I'll get cracking. Make a little bit of a dent in stuff today, And then hopefully tomorrow, when that stuff's ready to film and assemble, I will make a little short and outline my engine parts as well. Maybe shout out some Richard Holdner goodness. And then also do my engine episode, maybe tomorrow as well. So fun stuff all around. Yeah, I'm gonna get at it. Double roller. See you in a bit. Alright, update garage people. Got a few things done since I've talked to you last. It is still Thursday, my first video after the break, but we're moving along. I got my bushing from DRM installed in my steering rack here. You can see that there. I put a little anti-seize on it since it is aluminum. And I had to take off a little bit of the inside diameter with this and then smooth it with that just to get this to fit in here because it's metal instead of rubber. But there is absolutely no slop there whatsoever. So when I tighten that down in the steering rack, it's going to be awesome. So yeah, really happy about that. Much excite. Thanks DRM, thanks Todd and Kay. This is all cleaned off now. And I went back and watched my old video and repositioned my subframe on my dolly here to make sure that when I roll it back under the car, the rear of the dolly, when it hits this cross member here, with the cables going through it, there'll be enough space that the suspension arms can line up with their mounts, the shock mounts up there. There's that one. And there's that one. So we just got to make sure that there's enough space on this dolly that if anything, we want to be able to roll it forward a little if we have to. So I scooted everything back just a little, so we'll have clearance on the rear, that if we need to, we can just scoot the whole thing forward after the engine and trans and everything are on it. It obviously is a little heavy with all that stuff on it, but the wheels, they'll manage, for lack of a better word. So my continued plan for the day, I got my front suspension down there. Brake lines are over here. Here's the front brakes. Put my fast box up here for storage with the old intake on it. So just so it's out of the way for now. I can close this. Still gorgeous out here. So that's ready. This is ready to install on that rack. This rack is ready to install on the subframe. The suspension's ready to install. Brake lines are ready to install. Calipers and hubs are ready to install, and the rotors, all that's ready to go back on. Which I will do before I start messing with the engine. But I think today, while I have the daylight, I am going to sand this smooth here, get that all nice, and then hit it with my nice Wrinkle Plus black paint here to make this look all nice and incognito as much as humanly possible. So when we put it on the engine, it won't look, I mean, it'll look close to stock. You'll know it's not stock if you look really close, but it won't have the giant, fast LSXR 102 fuel air spark technologies, RH racing heads, racing cylinder heads, whatever, RHS, blah, blah, blah. And I took off the EGR port because I am not using that. So all of this will just get sanded smooth down to this little port here. And then I'll paint it black. So while it's super sunny and nice, I wanted to show you guys this bushing while it's on here. I'm going to go put this on there real quick just to free up my sawhorses here. And then I will sand this with some hand sanding and some Dremel and maybe this if need be. And then when I'm satisfied with that, I'll bring it outside and paint it. And then while that's being painted, I can start sanding these. And so then those are done as well. And then I can set all of this to the side and then finish this. So that's ready to put to the side. And then I can start messing around with putting the cylinder heads on the motor and checking the clearance for the port matching on the intake ports here. And then when that's done, the intake is done. So I'll assemble that and set it off to the side with the the throttle body and everything else, and then it'll be time to work on engine stuff. So yeah, it's a lot, but also it's going really well. I think before I do that engine stuff, actually, I'll find a way to get this in there and all plumbed up and everything, so I'll be one step closer to putting the interior back in. So I think the order of operations is going to go attach steering rack to subframe, free up stands, sand and paint intake, start sanding tubes, and then eventually I'll get the rest of the stuff on the front subframe here, do the nitrous stuff on the interior so I can get that out of the way, and then it'll pretty much just be that front suspension stuff over there, and the bell housing and the trans cross member and stuff, and then with my cam bearing tool, I can start putting the motor back together after the intake is checked. So really start freeing up some floor space, which will be cool. And then after that, it'll be engine back together and checked. Everything will have to be verified and blueprinted, and then the engine can go back on the stand and the transmission will go on eventually. But before that happens, well, the engine will go on the crane. I'll put the clutch on, and then, yeah, so there's still a ton to do. But I've got everything that I need, so I'm not waiting on anything. It's just me deciding on what I want to do next, so that's kind of fun. So I'm going to go ahead and capitalize on the daylight and the heat that I've got today and put that stuff out in the sun while I've got it, and I will come back to you guys when stuff is painted. We'll see how it looks. So yeah, keep wrenching, folks.
Even though the energy and temperature is the same. So
hey, garage people, just watching a little Rob Dom.
So we'll have
I prefer V8s to rotaries, but hey, to each their own. Got the top half of my fast here drying off
will allow me to have
with the wrinkle paint on it. I think it looks awesome. The only thing, I've got a little bit of a wave right here, maybe a little one right here, maybe a little one right there. And then my JB weld up on top of the EGR manifold, exhaust gas recirculation, that I deleted. Since it was really thick, I got a couple little pinholes in there that just happened while it was drying. Can't really avoid that, but I think what I'm going to do is sand that down and then put another little layer on top and just fill in those little holes, and then lay in with a JB weld, let that solidify and cure up real good, and then while that's curing, hit these little waves with a piece of sandpaper, and then give it one more final spray, and I think it'll be really good to go. You can see I kind of hit it on the back here a little uneven, which you won't be able to see even from like here back. but I'll probably clean that up as well. So we're moving ahead on our runners, getting those final sanded and then cleaned. Got a couple sitting over here in the sink that are cleaned or that are ready to be cleaned. You know, I'll probably just move these over here for now, in case we need to use the sink. What else? We got our car lowered back down. We got our steering rack back on with the new bushing. You can't see it from here. Can't even see it from here because this thing's sitting on top of it, but it's hiding under there. When I pull it out before I put the stuff on it, you'll be able to see it, but that's all tightened down. I am super stoked with that. Steering is going to be awesome. I have not yet put the shocks on just because I was doing other stuff while I had the sunshine. But what else did we do? Oh, we got the garage cleaned out, swept and everything. We got our motor still sitting here. But yeah, the plan is coming together well. We're almost finished with the intake. We got the rear end things or the front end things to bolt on, and then we got nitrous on the inside, and then we got motor. So my plan is for tomorrow we'll finish up this stuff. We'll finish this. We'll move over to this and see about mounting it and getting the lines routed, and start with the wiring, getting those just run loosely, and then we'll move on to the front end and start putting stuff on there, the shocks and the brakes, which are under there, and the brake lines and all that stuff, and we'll get all of that done. And then when this is in the car, that stuff is together, there's more stuff off the ground. This is all ready to bolt together, aka the runners are done, the lid's done and dry, everything. Then we'll put our cylinder heads on our motor and mock this up real quick and see how much we need to change our bottom intake plenum. Hopefully not very much. I don't think it'll be too much. Then we'll go ahead and do that, hopefully with just any sanding that will be minimally need to be done. And then that'll all be able to get bolted together as well. So we'll have intake done, front end subframe basically done, ready to go back in, and nitrous loosely installed. And then we can turn our attention to the motor. So car is down, but I did get the trans cleaned up. You kind of see it's cleaner there. But yeah, that's ready to install as well. That's all cleaned up. The crank is sitting behind the shelf here with the new drive gear on it for the cam. The bottom half of this, and the collar for the oil pump as well. The oil pump crankshaft hub sprocket is sitting on there as well. Yeah, I think that's where I'm going to put a pin in it for today. I think I'm going to try to start early tomorrow, use my Friday, and tonight we are going to a housewarming party for a cousin of the girlfriend, which will be fun as well. So I'm going to put down the stuff for today, try to do some damage early on tomorrow, and then maybe if I get all things placed, I can make a little short about guessing the power when I've got all my pretty engine parts set out, and I can do some Richard Holdner tagging in it. So, but yeah, I'm pretty excited about this. The paint is awesome. I think it'll look super good when it's in the car, like better than a untouched fast manifold. It'll be just like incognito, just like factory good, but better. So yeah, super excited about that. I may go ahead and do something about these as well. This little nitrous outlet and this Phytech logo here. Maybe fill them in with some fingernail polish or some black, or JB Weld, fill it in and then paint over the top. Not 100% sure yet, just because I would like that to be incognito as well, but I want it to also blend in. So, I don't know, maybe, this also has that rough texture, so maybe I'd blend some of that in there and then spray some of that spray paint in a can and then paint it on. I don't know, lots of options, but anyway. Well, maybe I'll spray that as well. Same finish, and yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Thoughts. But anyway, that's getting set there for now. These are ready for installation. Everything's ready. I'll have to decide what jets I want eventually, but that's down the road. So yeah, I'm gonna pack her up for the day, but finally got a little bit of progress back under my belt. And we'll be moving on to engine installation soon enough. But in the meantime, we got lots of other fun stuff to do. So got a nice couple weeks lined up. Should make a lot of progress. Keep wrenching, folks. See you next time.